The film starts in 1928. While participating in an expedition in India's snow-capped Karakoram mountains, mountaineer Klaatu comes across a brilliant sphere of ice. He is struck blind by an intense and furious light after using his pickaxe to cut through a chunk of ice. He then finds himself awakening from a brief unconsciousness, the sphere gone, and a scar on his hand. Let's go back to the current day. Renowned Princeton University astrobiologist Professor Helen Benson gets a strange call saying they are on their way to pick her up as she heads home to prepare dinner for her stepson Jacob Jaden Smith. The U.S. government arrives at her residence, asks who they are, and quickly informs her that she is under federal protection and needs to leave right away with them. When they get to Fort Linwood in New Jersey, she is gathered with others in a conference room and informed that Manhattan will be affected by a large, unknown object that is expected to impact Manhattan in 78 minutes at a speed of about a tenth the speed of light. She and many other scientists are put on a helicopter to come up with a survival strategy. There is silence as they prepare for a collision. It seems to have decelerated and is not about to crash. Dr. Benson notices a big, luminous object approaching the ground as he turns to face the helicopter's window. It's a spaceship that gently touches down in Central Park. From the sphere, around which the military has erected a cordon, steps a creature known only as Klaatu. The creature is shot right before Dr. Benson is ready to shake hands with it. A massive robot appears and lets out a sound that causes all of New York City's electrical systems to malfunction and paralyze people. The being gives the robot instructions to shut down before it can reclaim the being. The military gathers the entity and rushes it to the military hospital, where medical professionals attempt to save its life. A surgeon is summoned in order to extract the bullet. He discovers that the creature's outer layer is a jelly substance akin to whale blubber as he works to remove the bullet, and that it is starting to slip off on its own. According to one explanation, this was born on Earth and is the creature's placenta, much like a human infant. The skin patch that was taken from the mountaineer palm during its first landing in 1928 had a DNA sample, which allowed the creature to duplicate itself into human form. The creature is placed in an incubator right away to grow. After some time, we witness a fully developed human within the incubator. The first person to talk to him after he is fully grown and awake is Dr. Benson, who finds him thrashing around in the incubator. Regina Jackson, Dr. Michael Granier, Dr. Benson, and the U.S. Secretary of Defense interrogate him while he is recuperating. He addresses the group as Klaatu. He tells them he is a messenger from a race of extraterrestrials dispatched to address world leaders. Laughing at this,
"There is a gathering of world leaders not far from here. I will explain my purpose to them."
Jackson encourages him to tell her what he wants because she is the closest thing he has to their president. When he declines, she gives the order to have Klaatu taken to a safe place, given a drug test, and questioned. Dr. Benson offers to provide the medicine, but instead gives him a saline injection and tells him to run in a whisper. Klaatu is able to take over the interrogator's thoughts during the polygraph and flee. He reaches a train station before his bullet wound bursts, and he requires Dr. Benson's assistance. When Dr. Benson receives a call from the train station informing her that Klaatu has arrived to ask for her, she quickly leaves her house with Jacob in the rear seat. Following their departure from the train station, they are hunted for by the police in the wooded highlands, Newark, and New Jersey. There is panic all throughout the world because of the sphere's appearance. The robot, known as GRT, genetically organized robotic technology, eludes the U.S. military's initial attempts to destroy the sphere by launching Hellfire missiles from unmanned aerial aircraft. Eventually, the robot is taken prisoner. Mr. Wu and Klaatu meet at a McDonald's. We find out that he is an extraterrestrial who was given the same task of coexisting with humans for 70 years by a group of other extraterrestrial civilizations. After learning about humanity's destructive nature from him, Klaatu makes the decision to wipe out all people in order to preserve the planet's unique capacity to support complex life. Mr. Wu makes the decision to remain on Earth after discovering a side of people he truly loves. Because Klaatu is unable to see this love, he gives the order to start removing animal species from Earth using smaller spheres that were once buried there. This is likened to Noah, his ark, and the world-destroying flood. In the meantime, the robot is being tested in a Virginia subterranean facility. Then it changes into an army of insect-like nanites that start destroying everything on their route back to Manhattan, including an American tank brigade. Dr. Benson makes an effort to persuade Klaatu that things are not as they seem, and that people are capable of improving the planet. She then brings him to the residence of Nobel Prize-winning Professor Barnhart, John Cleese, but he remains doubtful powerful. There, they talk about how Klaatu's own species underwent a dramatic evolution in order to survive the death of its own star. Helen and Jacob have persuaded Klaatu that people are redeemable and capable of changing for the better. Instead of resting soundly in the adjacent room, Jacob reports Klaatu's location by calling an 800 hotline. When Dr. Benson is taken prisoner by the military and he is left alone with Klaatu, he rapidly realizes his error. They both continue moving in the direction of the sphere. Regina Jackson understands in the meantime that the only way to guarantee humanity's existence may be to persuade the extraterrestrial to reconsider. After being given permission to depart, Helen meets up with Dr. Michael Granier at a cemetery to meet up with Jacob and Klaatu. Jacob takes Klaatu to the cemetery and shows him his father's grave. Jacob begs Klaatu to revive his father by using his abilities. Klaatu can't accomplish this. He comforts Jacob by telling him that everything in the cosmos has a purpose. Hence, nobody ever truly dies. Everything simply becomes something else. This is when Michael and Helen show up. Helen shares with Jacob how much he has missed his father, and the two of them cry together. After their exchange, Klaatu decides to preserve humanity. Klaatu understands the other aspects of people that Mr. Wu adores. They move in the direction of the sphere after Klaatu promises to try to stop it. Dr. Benson finds it strange that the entire town has been evacuated and that the military vehicles are not pursuing them once they drive past a roadblock. She yells at Michael to stop the car as they get closer to the sphere. At that moment, the sphere is struck by a targeted missile strike that the president has approved. Michael is killed as the automobile is blasted into a tree. That's when the cloud of nanobots appears. Even if Klaatu is successful in stopping GRT, the human way of life will suffer as a result, he cautions. They sprint in the direction of a footbridge to hide beneath because they won't have enough time to reach the sphere. However, it is discovered that Dr. Benson and Jacob have bloody noses and are infected with the nanites, which is why they are already beginning to die. She begs Klaatu to keep Jacob safe. By spreading the virus to his own body, Klaatu rescues both of them. He then offers himself as a sacrifice to halt GRT by passing through the nanites to reach the sphere and touching it. His actions trigger a powerful EMP from the sphere that destroys GRT and saves humanity, but at the cost of rendering Earth's technology unusable and immovable. Jacob discovers that Klaatu is still alive as the sphere departs. He's simply blended into the enormous sphere. Along with the enormous sphere, the spheres that round Earth go.